I am a Christian, and we're finding out why people are here. That's okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay, cool. My name's Eric.
Sure.
What's your name?
Gordon.
Gordon? And Gordon, do we have your permission to use this on internet and television and stuff like that?
Sure. What's it for?
I'm with a group called Creation Today out of Pensacola, Florida. So we'll air it on a Creation Today show that we do.
Sure.
Cool. Awesome. Let the crowd die down there for just a second. We're here at the Reason Rally with Gordon. Gordon, why are you here today?
I'm here to be part of this experience as far as showing the United States as a whole the numbers of secular Americans, and that we should be represented politically, that atheist shouldn't be a dirty word or a stigmatized term.
Now, as a Christian, it's my position that without God, you actually can't know anything. That's just my position. Would you tell me, do we know anything? Do you know anything?
I would say that without science, we can't know anything.
So do you know anything?
I would say that we can know some things to a certain degree. But
Can you know anything for certain?
it's hard to say. As far as with science, it's a self-correcting system.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you certain that it's a hard thing to say?
Am I certain that it's a hard thing to say?
That it's not certain?
No, I'm not going to go that far to say that. But as far as
so, is there certainty? Yeah, I'm talking about certainty, absolute knowledge. Do you have any knowledge? Do you have any absolute knowledge?
To the best of our abilities, yeah, I'd say that we have knowledge.
Okay. Out of all the knowledge in the universe, how much do you think you have?
Personally, well, there's so much knowledge left to be learned. That's part of the idea of science, is that we're learning more all the time. And there's so much more to be learned out there. Who knows? I mean, it's how much information is out there to be learned. I mean, how can you even guess what fraction that we know now?
Now, that's a great answer. Now, if we were to try to quantify it and say, okay, Gordon, you've got 1% of all the knowledge. You think you have 1%. Would it be possible that out of the 99% that you don't have, that something out there could actually prove wrong this 1% you think you do have, or whatever it is, since we can't quantify it?
If it can present the evidence that something out there that we don't think is right now could be right in the future, well, that's how it works. That's how science is a self-correcting system. If there's new evidence that refutes a hypothesis, then the hypothesis goes out and you reform it.
So it's possible that you could be wrong about what we know now. It's possible that we could be wrong about what we know now.
With the information we know now, there's no reason to think that, but it's theoretically possible.
Okay. Now, if I were to tell you that the speed limit on the street over here is 35 miles an hour, but I could be wrong, do I really know what it is? If I follow my statement with, I could be wrong, do I know what the speed limit is?
Well, have you seen the sign that says it's 35?
Doesn't matter. It's almost irrelevant. I'm just saying, if I follow the statement with, I could be wrong, then do I have actual knowledge?
I'm not exactly sure where you're going with that, but if you don't have anything to base what you're saying that on, then no, you wouldn't have any knowledge there at all. You have to have, some reason to say that the speed limit there is 35 miles an hour for you to have any basis in saying that.
Agreed. But if I follow it with, I could be wrong, then I don't know, correct?
No, to the best of your ability. It's entirely possible that your memory is failing you, that you possibly remember that. You're telling me to the best of your ability, as you can remember right now, that the speed limit is 35. I'll take you through your word for it to a degree, with a grain of salt, essentially. I'll still check it myself. But I would say that your knowledge in that situation, saying that you don't know, say that it's possibly fallible, which I think is true according to science.
Now, you just said it's true, so earlier you said we can't have certainty, but this is true.
I would say that the fact that science is self-correcting and can theoretically be wrong, well, that's just a fact of the system. It is designed so that new information can be brought into it to update information as it exists.
Okay. So let me ask. So, could you be wrong about everything you think you know?
Highly unlikely. I suppose it is remotely possible, very remotely possible, that we will eventually learn enough information that voids everything that we know. But until there's evidence to say that, which seems highly unlikely now, then I would have to run on the assumption that what we know now is as good as we can know.
Okay. Another question for you real quick. If I could prove to your satisfaction that God did exist, the God of the Bible, if I could prove that, just hypothetical, would you worship him?
If the God of the Bible existed as he was in the Bible, that's a pretty good question. I am honestly not sure. As far as, I don't think that there is any information you could give me that would absolutely prove that the God of the Bible exists. That's such kind of an out there question. I'm honestly not sure.
Okay, I appreciate you being honest.
Hesitancy. I would have
Okay, so you would have hesitance even if I could prove to your satisfaction?
It's like the equivalent of you're talking about the God of the Bible as an absolutely all-powerful sort of deity. Well, I would see that as the same as somebody who has all power leading a country. I don't know whether I agree with that person that just because they have power that I would worship them. I would have to really see it in action to see if I agree with it ethically on my terms.
So really it comes down to you are the authority, not God?
I think ethics, based on at least my philosophy, is the best as I can understand right and wrong. I don't derive right and wrong from the message of the Bible, partly because I don't believe it. But I believe that there is a better system of ethics than the one that's just handed down in the Bible.
Okay, so what was the other? Was there another question, Daniel, on the interview list?
Can I ask him a question, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, you want to ask him a question? This is my friend Cy. I'm with him. This is Gordon.
Yes, I hear you doing a lot of reasoning with Eric here. Yeah. So you're using your reasoning.
Yeah.
How do you know your reasoning is valid?
It's to the best of my ability. As far as that's the system that we know best. It's the best we can do, as with being human.
Let me ask you a question. Would it make sense to use my reasoning to justify my reasoning? Would that not be viciously circular?
I don't think necessarily. I'm saying that that's the best we possibly have.
But you're using your reasoning to make that explanation, correct?
I suppose, but what I'm saying is it's irrelevant. How else would you decide whether to use reason?
We can get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's not a problem to use your reasoning to say your reasoning's valid. You don't see the problem there.
Well, you have to have a foundation of reason.
Exactly right, sir. You're exactly right. But are you saying that it's okay to say I reason that my reasoning is valid? Because my question is, are there people in this world whose reasoning is not valid?
I guess that depends on where they're drawing their reasoning from. Right. Reasoning can be invalid.
Okay, so there are people whose reasoning is invalid. Now, it follows that those people whose reasoning is invalid could not conclude that their reasoning was invalid because their reasoning is invalid.
Well, then their reasoning is not correct.
So how do you know you're not one of those people?
Well, if they're... I have to work under the assumption that the reasoning I'm making is correct, but I can be shown that it's incorrect. So
it's a blind faith
if I am shown that it's incorrect, I'll change it. That's why it's not blind faith.
You'd need good reasoning in order to be shown that it was incorrect.
Well, not necessarily. I've actually got to go. I don't want to miss this.
All right.
But
Jordan, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
It was good talking to you.
Yeah, sure.